Yes, welcome everybody to another episode of what are we? The XoneBros. We're the XoneBros. Welcome. We're coming at you. We're remote. We're not in the same room because Jordan the man has come down with a little cough. But as always, this is your positive gaming on Xbox community. So welcome. Thanks for being here, Mr. McSpicy. Looking good, by the way. Looking good.
Oh, thank you. Well, if I had a quarter for every time I heard that, I'd have a quarter. So that's awesome. No,
Jordan,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Jordan, how's your throat?
It hurts.
Well, okay.
Oh, that sucks.
I just took a lozenge before the show, so we should.
Lozenge. You sound drunk. I just took
Yeah,
a
how much
lozenge.
NyQuil are you on right now?
I just took one. Everybody, thank you very much for being here. If you're tuning in live, we are live every single Friday over on YouTube, youtube.com/X1Bros. It's a good time. We actually had a little pre-show before the show that's going to be a new thing. Lots of fun videos are there. Credits for everybody who supports us as members on YouTube. So if you'd like to support the show, come over and do that over on YouTube. You can just hit the membership button. You get a loyalty badge. In fact, speaking of loyalty badges, Cooper is celebrating his 22-month anniversary at Tier 3 Cortana. He says, hello, bros. Get well soon, Jord. Thank you very much, Cooper, for the support. The man with the plan. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a big week. Last week we talked a little bit about No Man's Sky, and because the Outlaws trailer was there, and we all jumped in this week, and we jumped in a big way.
Oh yeah,
at least you guys did.
Yeah.
Let's start with Jordan the man. How is No Man's Sky 2022 for you?
I think it's really fun.
Oh yes.
All right. Well, that's good.
That's good.
Back to you, David.
No, it's really good. It feels like they revamped the tutorial because I started a whole new character, so it feels like they've revamped the tutorial a little bit to make it a little bit, I don't know, what do you want to say, easier or more understandable on what you're doing. I found out a few new things. I got my ship. I built a base on Barbara Blake's planet, which we found out means that he can't build a base on that planet. It's pretty funny, but no, it's really cool. And then Mark actually showed me a bunch of stuff. The exploration of the game is really quite a lot. It's we were able to go. What were those things called, Mark? Those what were they? Technology upgrades that we were searching around for and finding. And then we found basically they're like the Galaxy Police. We did kind of I don't know if you want to call it like a miniature boss battle to get some equipment. There's actually
the
quite
fuzz
a lot too. Yeah, the fuzz, the space fuzz.
No, yeah, there's been a lot of changes. So I think you were with me, Jordan. I don't think we've played too much since the release. It wasn't the initial release. It was like, wasn't the next update?
The last time I played, I think it was No Man Next or something like that. It was when it released on the Xbox, which was kind of their big, I don't know if you want to call it their 2.0 update or whatever, but that's the last time we played. We probably played it for a good maybe week or so then, but this time I feel much more engaged in the game than I did last time.
They have added so much stuff, David, to answer your question. I played quite a bit this week. Probably too much, but what do you do when it's 2 a.m. and your kid's, awake type thing, right? So I've played, and they have added so many things. Actually, I gotta say, this is gonna sound weird, but you wouldn't think that the story in this game would be interesting. I don't know how to say this, but there is actually some really interesting things that I really like about the story. And you play the story to progress, your blueprints, which lets you build your base further, stuff like that. But there's been like some really, really interesting things happen in the story that make me really like this game. Like there's specific morality choices you have to make, which I don't want to spoil anything for everyone that has to make it, but I can talk to you guys later if you want. I don't want to spoil it if people are going to be getting into this game because it's a really good game to get into. But I was surprised by some of the story itself and how it I wanted to learn more about certain things in the universe that's taken place and stuff like that. And other things that have been added. I now am, I don't know when they added this, but I am building a bait. Like I have a colony where I'm taking care of people now and I'm building things up. and I don't know when this was introduced because it's not the Outlaws I don't think it was part of the Outlaws patch that they just released, but um, it's kind of like in Fallout 4 where you have your base and you can build it up and you can take care of people and make sure they're doing tasks and stuff like that. It's kind of like that. They've added that too. And so there's that side of the game that I didn't even know existed that I'm now working on. I'm building things for people. And just like the spaceships and the freighters, there's a class system in which a C class, B class, A class, S class colonies, they will be better or worse depending on that rating as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I am like, I had no idea. Well, it's been a while since I've played, but there is a lot of stuff to keep you busy for a very, very, very long time in this game.
Yeah, I was telling both you and Jordan earlier, and Jordan the man, tell me what you think of this, but I've been searching for my next MMO. The last one that I really had, I think, was Guild Wars 2, like my quote unquote forever game. I guess Minecraft was kind of that for me as well, constantly building up our realm that we had. Which, by the way, we lost it, but I figured out, I think, how to get it back.
Do we get it back? Oh, really?
Yes. I think what happened is you can download, side note, everybody listening, this is going, what happened, we had a realm on Minecraft, for those of you that are OG know,
for years.
It's amazing. Like, you could stream, we would get subscribers just from streaming it because it's that good. Like, there's so much cool stuff that the community built on our realm. It was actually Cooper. Shout out to Cooper, who is in chat here, but he suggested, hey, it's probably on your Xbox One X because it when you made a copy, it saved it, it downloads it on the hard drive. That's why it's not showing up. I think that is correct. Actually, the last time I did a backup on it, I did the backup on my One X. I still have it, so it's coming back. But this feels like that. It's so well fleshed out. I have like 6 hours that I played this week. I didn't play a whole bunch like you guys, but there's so much there. And what it does a really good job of, but that I did not feel like it did this before. Granted, we played, I think, like 3 months in after No Man's Sky released, or after they like came out with their first DLC, which fixed a lot of stuff. But their tutorial is really good. They do a really good job of giving you just enough to teach you enough, but yet it's not 1,000% hand holding. That's annoying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like trickling enough, getting your palate wet enough that it keeps you going on to the next thing. And for a game that is super complicated with what is it, like billions of planets in the game?
It was a word I didn't recognize.
Quadrillion?
Quintillion or something.
Quintillion? Yeah. And so
Quintillion.
It's a very complicated game. There's a lot there. They do a really good job. I am blown away, super impressed with it. In 2022, Jordan the Man, let me ask you this. If you've not jumped into No Man's Sky, 2022, is it a must jump into No Man's Sky with this Outlaw update?
I think so. I think it's a fun game to play with your friends, especially now that we know, because remember when we first played, they didn't have their multiplayer update yet, so it was still multiplayer, but it wasn't
fake
like
multiplayer.
Yeah, it wasn't like 100% multiplayer. What we found out playing this update a year later, since they've added the multiplayer update, is all your progress saves, for good or for bad. In Mark's case, because he got sent halfway across the galaxy, which didn't turn out too well. But
it's really funny if you join someone else's game. In this case, I think it was Barbara Blake's that I joined, and then start some missions, and then exit the game and come back a day or two later when you play again. You're back in your own universe, but because there's a quintillion, whatever the amount of planets, my friends is way out in the middle of nowhere that I can't get to.
Wasn't it like light years away?
It was not a feasible thing to travel to get those missions, and it's story missions. So I don't think Blake was wanting to play at the time. I didn't even ask him. But
wait, so how did you solve this?
So they added, it's a hidden feature. You have to hold the right joystick on the mission, like when you're looking at the mission, and it'll reset it in the galaxy that you're in. Apparently, that wasn't available for like 2 years. So a lot of people, when they would join the game,
You got to
they
make
would-
sure you're in like the same galaxy.
yeah, don't do any story missions unless you're in where you want to be.
That
Well, what's cool about that is progress does carry over between your friend's world and your world. So whereas before it
Yeah.
didn't, it seemed like whatever we did when we were in a friend's world just disappeared when we left or we couldn't get back to it. So I really like the multiplayer. With this game being on Game Pass, I think it's a definitely must play if you haven't tried it out. And if you have tried it out, this is a good update to come back to.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously no game is for everybody, but if you want a game to just turn the world off and dump time into and just, I mean, I throw on an audiobook with this. This is one of the audiobook games that I really like to play. Just throw on an audiobook and then build a base, go fly through space. It really is a great relaxing game. They've done great things. And I haven't even come close to touching the core of the recent update, the Outlaws update, because that's all about pirates and
smuggling.
Solar
Smuggling.
sail ships and stuff.
Those
Yeah,
solar sail ships look
They do
freaking
look-
awesome.
yeah. So there's so much in this game now. I'm glad that I'm jumping in again because there's a lot to do.
Yeah, super fun. Let's take some super chats here. AOG wrote in and dropped a super chat. He says, allowance times bros, spend wisely. AOG, thank you very much for your support. Appreciate it. And then we did get a comment from Reactor Leak. He's on his tier 4 Atriox anniversary of 22 months. Thank you, Reactor Leak. He says, hey bros, do you think if this version of No Man's Sky released instead of what we got a few years back, would this be a game of the year type candidate on release? Jordan the Man, what do you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if it had all the features it has today on release, I mean, that would have been a game that blew people away. But I think it has won several awards since its turnaround. I think didn't it win? It finally beat Fortnite in what's that category? Best live service type game or whatever
Yeah.
award. I don't know for 100%, but I thought it did win awards since then. So I mean, yeah, definitely.
Jordan the Man.
I don't think so, personally.
Oh, you don't think it would be a game of the year?
Not game of the year, just because there's still bugs and stuff. And
Oh,
you gotta know it came out in 2016. I just looked up the list. Titanfall 2, Overwatch, Doom.
Yeah, but if
And
it dropped with current features
It
Why
would
be talked
in as a complete package,
think it would
I
be
mean, it's
from
yeah,
an indie studio, it'd probably be talked about.
okay. Probably. I don't know. It's just there. It still
The
feels.
question is, does it beat Overwatch, Titanfall, or whatever games it came out with?
That's
at
the
time?
thing.
You know what I mean?
I had to compare it to the list, and I think those still came out very good, very strong. So I don't know. It would be. I mean, maybe it's a consideration, but I still think those games are stronger. in my
regardless, it's a
opinion.
very good game.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I want to hear this story. Blake Densey writes in and says, Jordan peed on my planet.
Oh yeah, because I set up my
Well-
base computer, so he had to travel like far away to set up his.
Well, that's the thing because you
Yeah,
can't build
you
next
can't
to each
build
other.
on each other's quote unquote land. You know, so
So yeah, so that's
Yeah.
what we're because we joined his game and like the multiplayer, like I was talking about how my mission started a way quintillion in the Andromeda system. I don't know where it is, and once you you have to put down a little beacon thing to build a base, and that's what he's saying is Jordan peed on his planet because that beacon
Yeah.
prevents other people from building
doing their
anywhere.
stuff. Yeah,
So, and what's funny
Let's
is Blake
go
was in
around
the
finding those on
tutorial.
all the planets.
And Blake was just in the
He
tutorial.
was in the tutorial, so he couldn't do anything. It was pretty funny. That's
funny.
Jordan being an alpha once again.
In space.
Yeah.
Alpha in
Thanks
space.
for letting me join your game. Now you can't do anything.
Let's go to, I think David Branfield here has a good comment in chat. Again, guys, if you want to join us live, youtube.com/X1Bros. Every single Friday, we're over here on YouTube. You can come support the show here. Also, don't forget to like, rate, and review us on Apple, iTunes, also Spotify. You can watch the video live over there. And I didn't check. I think, have we passed 100 reviews on Spotify? I think we have. If not, we're really close. So thank you, everybody, for dropping a positive review. But Dave Brownfield says, No Man's Sky, Rainbow Six Siege, Sea of Thieves, all launch and not a great place. Take years to get good, and they have, for sure. He says, meanwhile, everyone says Halo Infinite is dead. On that point, Jordan the Man, that has been honestly like, the multiplayer just hasn't done anything. Where's it at? What's it doing? We did get some news with Halo Infinite. We got a roadmap. We got some season 2 news. We got some battle royale news as well. We've been talking battle royale. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Man, give us the news, baby.
So to go through all the bullet points, Halo Infinite had a pretty big drop. We're getting ready for season 2, which starts on May 3rd. They came out with their roadmap, which is really cool. So in season 2, we're getting 2 new maps. I would have liked to seen a little bit more, but we're getting 2 new maps, and that's okay as long as they're solid maps. I'm okay with the amount. But you get one arena map, which is called Catalyst. It's like a 4-runner structure, and then you got the one I'm excited for, the big team battle map called Breaker. This map aesthetically just looks cool. It's a like a desert planet, but it's a banished shipyard. Ship breaking yard, hence the name Breaker. But this map looks cool. This is going to be for big team battle. I'm excited to jump into this one. We have new game modes, which is what I think a lot of people were asking for. We got King of the Hill land grab and Last Spartan I can't even talk. Standing. We have the new battle pass, which is going to come with the free armor core and earnable credits, which was a big criticism from the previous battle pass. And then what's exciting, and I didn't expect this to be on the roadmap, but they do talk about campaign network co-op. They didn't give specifics, but they said they have a target for late August, which is really cool. They talked about Forge open beta, another target. They want to target that in September. Of course, they have a bunch of quality of life improvements, and then they have a campaign mission replay, which they're also going to target for late August. So I think this is good. I think this is a good content drop. I'm curious to see what their live service is going to be throughout this season, whether that be new Fracture events, which we know we're getting, or different events that they're going to do throughout the season. But I think this will be a good start to hopefully a really good season.
Yeah, so they didn't show us the actual battle pass yet. This was just the roadmap for season 3, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, this is just the season 2.
Season 2.
The roadmap for season 2, and then they also show further. They show a season 3, which starts on November 8th. So much shorter season this time, which I think is good because I think you need to inject that new content in every I don't know 3 to 4 months, right? Agreed. I think it's a good. Yeah. I mean, 4 seasons a year, I think is perfect for live service games.
Yeah. But, so Super Shocker actually has a question in chat. He says, "Is Last Spartan Standing the BR?" No, this is not the BR, but Last Spartan Standing is a BR-esque mode in that they are having a shrinking map. Very interesting. But it's not the battle royale. They talked about
Last Spartan Standing is kind of like they explain it. It's basically it's a free for all. You have so many lives. When you get a kill, you upgrade to a different gun, and if you die, then I don't know if you lose all your. Basically, it's free for all with a limited amount of lives, essentially. And then Last Spartan Standing wins.
Yeah. It's Anyways, the battle royale mode that was talked about is Certain Affinity. They've been working on it for 2 years. They say it looks like it has some Warzone like things from last Halo in it, like almost hybrid. It's not going to be a full blown competitive Apex necessarily battle royale, but it is something that they've taken serious. It's taken 2 years to develop. It's been its own team working on it, and so that is in the works. So
yeah, which will be really interesting. Rumor has it that they're going to try and launch this BR around season 3 time, which would be, according to this roadmap, in November. But again, we don't know. We've not even heard about it. I mean, we've not even had confirmations about it. We've just heard rumors, which will be really exciting. And it sounds like they're treating it like Warzone. And I think Warzone is actually a good way to treat your battle royale alongside your core game.
Yeah,
if that makes, because I know a lot of people are worried about, well, if they focus on a battle royale, they won't be focusing on the multiplayer. Good thing about this is you have 2 different studios working in tandem with each other. One focuses on battle royale, the other focuses on the arena, or you know what I mean, which I think is good. My only issue with this roadmap, and this may just be me, people can let me know, David, Mark, tell me, I still think this season is a little bit too long.
How long is it?
6 months. Am I doing that math correctly? We got May 3rd to
May
November
3rd to
7th.
November 7th. That's
So May to
seems-
November,
yeah.
what is that? Yeah, that's about 6 months, isn't it? Give or take a few weeks.
They're not taking into effect the Ronins and the Jordans in the
I
audience,
know,
because those people will sit down and stare at the screen for 40 hours straight. Like I mean, you want to those are the people that make noise when it comes to complaints or praise. So I think I don't know.
Don't get me wrong.
Too-
I'm happy it's not as long as season 1. Well, I mean, how long was season 1? Was season 1 6 months?
December to May.
It was
Yeah,
it
so
would be
probably was-
November.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And we thought that was long. And
yes, it's long.
and they're just and the problem is near the end of that cycle, 2 to 3 months left of that cycle, that's when people realize there isn't a lot of content available, and that's when we have the discussions that we have. I personally think that's too long. I think that's too long,
Especially
for
we still don't have the progression, the secondary progression system other than the battle pass. And I'm talking about, leveling, prestiging, whatever they decide to put in. We know it's coming, and we know they're working on it. We just don't know when. So they still don't have that, which I think, I don't know. I feel 4 months, 5 if you need to extend it is the sweet spot. No more than 5 though. You know what I mean?
don't even say that. I think
all of the seasons of the year. 4 seasons of the year, 4 months. 3
I think
months, I guess.
Yeah, I think 4 is on the. I would never go past 4 months.
No, I see. You're probably right now that I'm thinking about it, because you want to do, if you do 4 seasons a year, that's 3 months per season, correct? I think that's, I don't know. I think that's, but well, even if you did 3 seasons a year at 4 months, I think that's decent too.
Reactor Leaks says he thinks it should be 3, and Psychotic says Sea of Thieves is about 3 months long.
Yeah. And Sea of Thieves, I think is doing really good with their seasonal content.
3 months is a sweet spot. 4 months you can get away with. Anything longer than that, I don't think is a wise decision, in my opinion.
So, Jordan, let me get your thought on Last Spartan Standing. Big deal, not big deal, needed, not needed. What do you think of the addition of that?
It's not just Last Spartan Standing.
Yeah, King of the Hill, land grab.
Yeah, right. I think the more modes, the better. I mean, when you pull up Halo 3, just Master Chief Collection. I mean, what can you go do? You can go do anything you want. You know what I mean? You can play King of the Hill, Infection, free. You can do whatever you want. I think launching without the game modes was unfortunate. I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm glad we're getting these ones. Last Spartan Standing sounds really fun. It's I think it's good. That's all I can say. I'm glad they're adding new game modes. I wish there was a little bit. Well, actually, with these 3 game modes, I think we have a good handful of modes that we can do. I wish some of the other limited time modes would stay, like Fiesta, and I think they did that. But anyway, no, I to answer your question, David, I'm getting all turned around here. I think it's good.
Very nice. Spicy. How about you? How about you? Overall thoughts on what's coming with season 2?
I don't know.
Is it enough to redeem the Halo multiplayer at this point, or does it look like we may have to wait for season 3?
I mean, I'll have a better opinion once it launches and I get a feel for it a little bit more, but I feel like I keep going to the 6 months thing. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't matter how much you have to put a lot into that bucket for a 6-month content package. Yeah. And I don't know if that's enough. I mean,
go ahead, Mark.
Well, we've talked about the number next to your name, the prestiging, the symbol of how long you've played. I think that would go a long way to helping relieve some of the stress of lack of content. And that's not in this that we can tell. Like Jordan said, it should be coming, but it's not there, and it's still a 6-month cycle. That's in 4 months from when this launches, we're going to be having the same discussion again. Yep. I feel.
I think this would be a perfect season 2 if season 3 started in August.
Yeah, that's and
that's because you're thinking May, June, July. July, August. I think this would be a great content drop if season 2 started in July, August area. Yeah. Or sorry, season 3 started then.
I mean, They did talk about, and they haven't detailed it out, but quality of life improvements.
No,
would-
yeah.
Could
of
those
course,
be
which are always
under?
big.
Yeah, could those be under quality of life stuff? You know, like the numbers and the rankings, or do we think that's coming or no?
Well, I think because of the outcry of all the rankings, I think they would publicly put that up there because
Yeah, that's a
people
good
want
point.
that.
That's a good point.
Quality of life is basically a lot of under the hood stuff. I mean, I don't
see-
know. Quality of life is ongoing though. You're never not doing quality of life improvements.
And really, our concern with this game is not quality of life stuff. The game is in itself a fantastic, mechanically great game.
Hmm.
It's polished, it's great. That's not what we're concerned about. It's content. Really, we need a reason to be playing this over other games that are pulling our attention with the content that they have. And I don't know. I just think 6 months is too long to keep that content pool active.
Yeah.
I think the solution is a shorter, maybe do here. Okay. What do you guys think of this? Do less content than they're showing right now, but have it on a 3-month cycle. Cut it in half. And then you still have the same thing, but you now have 3 months of half of what we're getting. And then there's an excitement factor again.
You get hyped up for the next,
and things changes and everybody gets hyped again for the next 3 months. I think the problem is the fact that it's too long.
I mean, it's a half. You're basically trying to publish a half year's worth of content. That is what you're trying to do.
You get your sugar rush too fast. You eat all the candy too quick, and then you have nothing to look forward to for the next 4 months.
I mean, let's say this goes till November. Let's say they hit their targets of campaign network co-op in August. That would be a nice little injection into the game. If they hit those targets, I think that would help. But it's like I said, it's late August is the target for those. Forge open beta is a September. Forge will help a lot because not only will you receive a bunch of community content from that, it'll also inject life back into the game. But again, those are all targets; they're not confirmed, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is this going to be my only worry? Is let's say they miss their targets of campaign co-op and Forge for late August and September. Then this is just another 6 months season 1.
Yeah, I really think you just cut the cake in half and do it in 3 months increments. That's honestly what I think. People are eating the cake too fast.
They're eating the cake too fast.
You're just eating the whole cake too fast.
If you think content wise, like if you were to cut this in half, there is an argument to be made. Like these game modes should have already been. Is game modes considered content? You know what I mean? Like I would consider a battle royale content because of what a battle royale brings. It brings a whole new map with it. You know what I mean? Like I guess I'm happy these game modes are here. I'm happy with what they're delivering day 1, season 2. But I get the frustration of players. Hey, last Spartan standing, something like King of the Hill. Why was that not there on day 1? You know what I mean? So would you consider that content? Only 2 new maps? I mean, I'm not against the number of maps if they're good. What sucks is if one of those maps is terrible, then you're only getting 1 good map. You know what I mean? For 6 months. Yeah,
well, that's 2 maps more than Overwatch has given us in 3 years.
and again, I don't think they're the example to take from. Yeah, I don't think they're the example to take from. Which is so they're definitely not the example to take from.
Well, maps are that's a huge, like, maps don't come often in most games. I mean, a lot of the ongoing games that we see are just changes of the same map, because maps are very, very difficult to balance, to create, to make them work. And so when maps come, that's actually a very, very big deal. So give credit there. 2 maps is still that's still a lot of work to have.
I get you, and it's 1 per game mode, so you get 1. I am excited for that breaker map. That map does look cool. We'll see if it ends up being cool, and I guess the other thing I'm curious. So they have the interference alpha pack, and they have that labeled as narrative events. I'm curious to see how they do their narrative events, because let's look at what's a good game to? I mean, I know they're battle royales, but take Fortnite and Warzone. I mean, they're knocking their narrative events out of the park, whether you like them or not. They're doing. I mean, Godzilla King Kong.
Did you see the Godzilla King Kong? What is happening there?
I don't. That's cool. Whether you like it or not, you got to admit they're pushing these narrative events, which is a part of the seasonal event, which injects life back into that game, which is new content. It's fresh for players. We'll see what Halo does with their narrative events. It's probably a lot harder to do in an arena style game, because you can't really just change the maps all of a sudden, like they do in battle royales. But and I don't know, maybe that's another reason why battle royale would do good for Halo, just to inject that content in there while you're waiting for the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, yeah.
Anyway, all in all, I am excited for season 2. I'm excited for what we got. I'm just worried about the length of it. Is it going to sustain me for 6 months?
I agree. I think 6 months is too long. In my opinion.
Very long time.
Yeah. You're gonna. We're beating a dead horse here, but you're gonna get players that play the game hard, and in 2 months they're gonna be done with that content. And for 4 months, they're going to be going, well, it's 4 months. I'm going to play something else, And you don't want that to happen. You want to be giving your gamers the drug that they want.
Yeah. Which after hearing you say that, Mark, I think you're right. I think 4 months is probably that sweet. If at the longest 4 months, 3 to 4 months, because you're always going to have your hardcore players that just knock out content in a couple weeks, right? And I understand you can't design it just for them. You got to keep the all player bases in mind, right? But even if they knock that out in a couple months and have to wait 2 months, that's better, like you said, than waiting 4 months. Or I don't know. I think the biggest issue isn't necessarily the content here. It's more so the time that you're going to be playing that content. Because like you said, in 4 months from now, people are going to be like, oh man, we got to wait. They're going to be complaining about the same thing again. There's going to be like this 2 month content drought. And
cut it in half, cut the cake in half. In 3 months, do the same amount. If their output can only do so much, and maybe that's the thing, their output just can't create the content that the gamers want, then just cut it in half and make them get excited every 3 months instead of every 6 months.
Yeah. That being said, if they do hit their targets for open beta or for Forge and for campaign, or the campaign network co-op is what they're calling it, that could be that last couple months, life that they need. But we'll see if they hit those targets,
Oh, yeah.
Well, can we talk about Godzilla King Kong real quick with Call of Duty that dropped today? The trailer was amazing. For those of you that haven't yet seen it, go watch it. What's it called again? It's called the
Monarch.
The Monarch.
Yeah, because that's from the movies.
Oh, and all it's a video of King Kong running and jumping and trying to punch Godzilla, and Godzilla trying to, laser mouth dragon shoot King Kong. And then it just says Warzone. So it looks like
that's going on right now. I believe.
Yeah. So how cool is that though? Talk about narrative. That's Call of Duty. Remember when Call of Duty decided to do Warzone, and we were all like, well, at least I was, but it was like, does Call of Duty need to do that? It's Call of Duty. They don't need a battle royale. And then they did it, and not only did they do it, but they did it correctly. And I feel like if Halo is able to do what Call of Duty has done with a quote unquote Warzone or a battle royale type, I mean, I think this conversation that we're having about Halo not having enough content is definitely a thing we'll look back and be like, oh, remember those days?
Well, because think about it. Then you have 2 content paths. You have a team working on the arena stuff, which they can give us our updates like they normally do. And then you have another team working on the Godzilla patch, for Battle Royale, right? You have 2 different and Call of Duty still does support their multiplayer. They come out with the new maps and guns and stuff like that in their, we'll call it regular multiplayer, in addition to, all their content drops they have for the battle royale. So I think it's possible. I think games like Call of Duty has shown us that it's possible, and I'm very interested to see what Halo does if all these rumors are true.
Yeah, no, I
Wait, so what is that? What is the? I watched the trailer. What is it? What is Monarch? Like,
Monarch
we gonna
is
have-
is I believe if you watch the new version, like the new MonsterVerse movies, is the company in those movies
okay.
that like discovers the monsters
Do we
and
know,
all that stuff.
do we know the relationship between King Kong, Godzilla, and Call of Duty? Was like, because it honestly looks like
do you
they just
need to
took
know
a
the
scene from the
relationship?
movie.
it is a scene. It's like a scene from a movie. It's
From the
so
movie,
cool.
and then it just says Call of Duty. Like, what does it even mean? Does that
It's so
mean-
cool?
Is it like a PvE thing? Is it like
So I think I don't know what it is, but from what I was reading today about it, it's like you'll be fighting your war zone while those two are fighting at the same time. Are you on one team or the other during that match? I don't know. And like whether or not you win, does it if you push forward in the zone or something? I don't know. I don't know. I'm
that's
just
the
talking.
thing? Like, what does this mean? Like, what does it mean?
That's hilarious.
I don't know. It's giving
It
me
doesn't matter. It looked awesome.
I know. I guess. But what is that? What is maybe this is like an existential thing. What does this mean?
King Kong Reactor League says King Kong and Godzilla find out they're first cousins and decide to bond with a battle royale match.
I mean, you could really put anything on the end of that, like have the really crazy commercial and then put Acura at the end, like they do with like car commercials and movies coming out. Like, makes no sense to me. Like, I don't know what this means for the game.
Yeah, Dr. Teeth is right. The only thing it means is that you're going to play it.
It means that I'm going to
what
play it.
means.
Okay.
I don't think we 100% know exactly, right? But because this starts April, I was wrong. I thought.
Yeah, I
today
didn't
was
think it
today.
started today.
Yeah, no, sorry. Today is April, but it's April 22nd. This starts April 27th. But Mark, let me tell you something. You just saw that trailer. Don't you want to be there day one to see what it is? Even if it's a disappointment, the marketing team's got you. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, that's okay.
What does this mean? It really is a scene from a King Kong movie, a modern King Kong.
Imagine this. Picture this. Close your eyes and picture this. You're in Caldera, which is the map for Warzone, I think, right?
Okay.
You're running down. You just headshotted two guys, and then all of a sudden, a giant monkey just slams down. I mean, what do you do?
I get some more headshot kills, and then I'll pay for you to come back in the map.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I guess I'm excited.
I hope that if the monsters come in during the matches, they can step on you, and that kills you. So like, it's literal chaos.
I wonder if it's going to be like Battlefield, where a tornado comes in through the map, but they're just fighting like through the map, and you just got to avoid them or get sucked into the tornado of the combat that they're doing. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if Battlefield was watching this and just being like, holy shit.
We should have done.
How did they get the Godzilla contract?
Holy, how'd they get the Godzilla contract?
Man.
It's so good.
Well, what's awesome about Warzone 2, I don't know if you guys seen this, maybe you have, but they have Snoop Dogg as an announcer now in one of
Oh
the
yeah,
games.
I saw his pack that you can get.
You could buy a pack and he'll be like yo, for Dizzle, go to this checkpoint, yo, type of, like, they have him as one of the announcers. Now that I understand, I will buy that immediately.
I still think they should get like Samuel L. Jackson and stuff. I think he's the
Pulp
perfect
Fiction Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. So see, and there's another thing. Why is Halo going back to Halo? Why is Halo not doing that? That is, so you have your what is it? Your personal AI that talks to you during the round. And we've talked about this before. Why not have Miranda Keys, Cortana, Master Chief, Sergeant Johnson? I would buy that one from the store for $20 if I had to, just for a voiceover. Why are they not going this direction?
Yeah,
maybe
Dwayne
they are.
Johnson.
I mean, they've got someone where
right?
once again, I think they are. I mean, Certain Affinity is working on it. They've been working on it for 2 years. It sounds like they're taking it serious.
For regular multiplayer, those are small features. Well, I guess you can't really call them small features. I understand it takes time.
Godzilla is no small feature.
Well, no, I'm not talking about Godzilla. They can add him later. But just like Call of Duty just added, like Mark said, the Snoop Dogg voiceover pack. Why not have a Snoop? Why doesn't 343 get a Snoop Dogg AI pack for its voiceovers. You know what I mean?
And have the symbol be a joint. Like you
Yeah,
know how they have their
and there
different
you go.
shapes.
Yeah, that can be your thing that you can put on your.
Then
your,
you have
your
to have
website.
the rating have like drug reference. Now it's no longer T for
You know,
teen.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
I think Matt Wilcox in chat has a good point. He says he thinks that Halo's trying, but it's just not their strong suit. And they're what I would agree with that. We've said it before. It's definitely a learning curve for them at the very least.
Yeah. No, I get that. They've never done a, I guess, live service game, but
still, look at all the examples they have of things that work and things that don't up to this
see, and
point.
that's my thing. And if you're gonna go into a live service game, don't you go out and hire personnel that are experienced in that field and know, you know what I mean?
Well, they probably do, but these things take time.
No,
it takes time to build. I wouldn't be
get that,
surprised if the discussion has happened on like shorter seasons, but the discussion is okay. 6 months, season 2. Let's stick with our plan. That gives us 6 months to develop X, Y, and Z that we need to do.
Yeah.
But David, to be fair, they've had 6 years to develop this game.
That's fine. I mean, look at but we just got done talking about No Man's Sky that launched to probably one of the worst launches ever, and now we're back saying, look how great this game is. I think Halo
6 years ago, it launched in 2016.
Yeah, Halo could do the same thing. I think there's no doubt that they were pushed on a crunch to launch alongside Series X.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, and it got delayed a year from when Series X launched, so I'm sure they were, but it's just I don't know. I think you're right. The reason it's a 6-month season is because it gives them 6 months to work on X, Y, and Z, right? So maybe season 3 will be better. And I obviously I enjoy the game and I want the game to be good. It just seems like you look at other games. It's hard not to compare. You know what I mean? You look at other games like Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever, and you think, oh man, Call of Duty is doing a Snoop Dogg voice pack. Why is Halo not doing a voice pack of just its characters? Tartarus would be another cool voice pack character to have. Sergeant Johnson, stuff like that. And it's set up perfect. The game is set up perfectly for that. But it just makes you wonder,
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Wonder. Let me tell you what we should be wondering about. We got some news about World of Warcraft on consoles this week that I want to discuss with you.
Well, did we?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did. We did. This is a news article from IGN. This is from WoW game director Ian Hazakostas, and they say that he's dismissing the hopes of World of Warcraft coming to console. However, what they're actually saying is that the planned UI, the expansions, the improvements they've been making, the changes to the game are not in preparation for the game coming to console. Here's his quote exactly. He says, no, I think World of Warcraft is a game designed from the ground up for PC. I think we've just been looking at the ways in which add-ons have at times felt increasingly required, or like the first thing you do when someone comes to the game for the first time is tell them, hey, go download this add-on pack and move this stuff around, and we want to do better for our players, and that's why they've changed around the UI. Yep. He's not saying it's not coming to consoles, which is something that I think is interesting. He's saying that these improvements are not for consoles. I think it's inevitable that World of Warcraft comes to consoles. I think it makes sense with Xbox buying them. I think you could. There's already mouse and keyboard support on the Series X. You don't even need to bring in controller support or additional controller support if you want to just port it directly with keyboard and mouse support. But Jordan, sorry, you want to talk on this topic? Go right ahead.
No. I think it's if they're not at least even thinking about bringing it to console, I think it's foolish if they don't. The game only benefits from being on console. MMOs in general only benefit from being on console. You can see examples of this through ESO and Final Fantasy. And I don't think there's really an argument to be said other than I understand technical issues, right? But even then, I think it can be done. I don't really think there's an argument to be had. I mean, I just don't think there's an argument to be had that it cannot be on console, that it's impossible to be on console. One of the big things I always hear is, well, WoW can't be on console because of add-ons. And I feel like the way Blizzard develops World of Warcraft is with add-ons in mind, and I actually think that is bad game design. You should not design your game thinking that a third party will make a add-on that will help X, Y, and Z in Raid.
Well-
I think that's bad game design.
Well, I think that's
which is
exactly why these
why-
changes are
exactly,
being made.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is why people are excited with this announcement that they're revamping the UI. So I don't need to go download Dominoes or whatever UI you use. Other games do this really well. Star Wars: The Old Republic has an excellent UI editor. Same with Final Fantasy. I think they're moving towards that direction. I think they're trying to. Me personally, I think the add-ons should be axed completely because I think any useful add-on should be an in-game feature to begin with. Because, like I said, if you're developing a game with third-party add-ons in mind, I don't think that's necessarily good game design. Because you're basically relying on someone else to fix the issue that you're not addressing in your game. So I think this is a step towards that. Do I think World of Warcraft will ever get rid of add-ons? I don't know. I think the community of World of Warcraft is so used to add-ons. But I think this could be a step towards consoles. I think World of Warcraft benefits 100% from being on consoles. And I'd like to see them do it. And then you don't need add-ons in an MMO. People also make the argument that, oh, well, you can make more intricate boss and raid encounters with add-ons. No, that's not true. Final Fantasy doesn't have any add-ons, and their raid encounters are just as good, if not better in some cases. ESO, I know, has add-ons, but let's just talk about on the PC version. But let's just talk about the console version where you don't have add-ons. Again, raid and boss encounters are still very well done without those add-ons. You do not need add-ons to make a good game. That's the big argument, I think, of WoW coming to console. I think World of Warcraft getting rid of the need for some of the add-ons is good. I would personally, just my opinion, and maybe some other WoW players might disagree with this, I think they should get rid of add-ons altogether. And anything the players need, quality of life, they should make an in-game system for, whether that be UI, customization, different deadly boss mods, right, is a huge add-on that everybody uses. Quest trackers, which they already have in the game now. I understand, classic WoW doesn't have that because it was a product of its time, but now we have that in the retail version. Quest trackers, deadly boss mods is probably one of the most downloaded add-ons. You can add certain mechanic or certain things into your game that basically do deadly boss mods for you. What deadly boss mods is for people that don't know, is it basically says, hey, this dragon's about to shoot a missile, get out of the way. Like, it kind of tells you how, you know what I mean? It gives you notifications and stuff during certain encounters. I think all that could be in game. But anyway, that's just my rant. Again, I hope World of Warcraft eventually comes to the console. This new expansion, Dragonflight, they're saying all the right things, but they've done this in the past, and we've gotten expansions like BFA and Shadowlands. So this is one of those things we'll just have to wait and see how the new expansion goes. But I think, again, 100% it would benefit from being on the consoles.
Yeah, Spicy, would you play it if it came to console?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it's fun. It's another time sink if you want a game like that. It's not for everybody, but it's very, very relaxing.
Also, I'm not giving you guys a choice in this. My favorite expansion, or one of my favorite expansions, I have, anyway, the Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming out. You will be playing that with me. Just so you guys,
okay.
Dust off the old keyboard.
We've been put on blast. We've been put on notice.
That was a really fun story expansion. You get to go and fight Ard. Yeah, it's a good one. So.
Do I need to prep for it, or can I just play it when the time comes?
If you pay money, you can play it when the time comes. If you want to just prep for it, you don't have to pay money when the time comes.
I don't have time. I'll just pay for it.
Yeah, okay.
No. Beast in chat asks, does WoW still have a large player base compared to ESO and Final Fantasy? Beast, I was actually just looking at those numbers, and WoW still pulls in around 2 million monthly active players. So that's pretty, and that's pretty top tier. With Lost Ark, don't forget, is in that mix as well now. Lost Ark.
I think
Final
WoW
Fantasy.
still has. Put it this way: if you're an MMO player, you've probably played WoW at some point. You know what I mean? Even David and Mark, you have now played World of Warcraft through Classic.
But I think that's the issue there. I'm not. I don't think that they've definitely lost the player base from where they once were. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I think they have to earn their player base back. I 100% agree with that. And I think, I don't know, like this last patch they had, what is it, 9.2? I think has done a lot of cool things to help ease some of those tensions that the players have. We'll see what this next expansion does, but anyway. But no, I think you're right. I think they do have to earn back the, I guess we can call it trust or faith of the players that have left for other games like Final Fantasy or Lost Ark or.
Well, I think the bigger thing is they don't have their, I mean, they used to have 10 million plus subscribers, monthly subscribers there. So it's definitely diminished, but it's still a top played MMORPG.
Yeah, I think Wrath
the
of
shine,
Lich King was
the
hype.
shine has been taken off a little bit, and Final Fantasy really helped contribute to that, as well as sexual harassment.
That
doesn't help.
That stuff didn't help.
That didn't help. You
We
already
now
had a
know why
bad
the
game.
wasn't in a good
You now
spot.
just gave people. Basically, this is what happened. You had a bad game. People were looking for an excuse to leave, and you gave them that excuse. And then, oh look, there's Final Fantasy right over there.
Yeah. So it's yeah. But no, I think if there's any questions about a game, an MMO needing add-ons or an MMO coming to console, I think Final Fantasy is the one to look at as an example. Final Fantasy is very, very similar to World of Warcraft. Of course, they have their own flair on things, but a lot of the systems, like you level, you get to end game, you dungeon, you raid, a lot of that is very similar as it is in Warcraft. But Final Fantasy has these games on console. It benefits them. It's all cross-play, cross-progression, and they do it with a good control scheme. They do it without add-ons. It's 100% possible, and I think Blizzard can do it. I just think they need to invest the time to do it.
Yeah. With that, let's take some questions, guys, and then call it a show. After our questions, we're closing in on an hour here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live. We are remote today, so we probably sound a little different. Jordan has the fancier mic than the both of us. You can see from his house. He's got the Joe Rogan mic.
Oh my goodness,
He's leveled
Jordan.
up. Look at that! Look at that thing! Oh, look
Holy
at that thing!
smokes!
Speak into it.
Hello.
Oh yeah,
Hello.
there it is. Oh, there it is.
Hey, David, before we go to questions, can we talk about Overwatch for a little bit?
Oh yes, I completely forgot. Yes, tell us what's happening. Overwatch. We're waiting for the second iteration of the DLC of the Overwatch.
DLC 2.0 Overwatch 2. No, we have gotten a lot more information. Overwatch 2 comes, the beta starts on Tuesday.
Open beta or invitation only?
I think it's open actually, but I don't know. I just know I don't know. Hold on, I should check. I do have a list. Jordan, can you look that up real quick while I go through some stuff? I don't know how many people listen that play this game still. I still do. I love this game. But we got a lot of interesting changes, I guess, to Overwatch 1. Obviously, there's the PvE stuff that we already knew about, but they're doing a rehash of a lot of characters. David, can you throw my screen up? I think I can just show it. Can you make me big so everyone can see this?
Make you big.
I'm just going to go through a couple things. These right here are the list of changes that to date that we know of.
That's a lot. That's what is it, like 6 pages?
6 pages of changes to characters and stuff that we know about now. I'll just go through some of my thoughts and stuff real quick because I don't know how many people play this, but I love this. Doomfist is now no longer going to be a DPS character. They're turning him into a tank, actually, which is really interesting, doing a lot less damage.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, so they're redoing some of his kit. They've added some health pool, they reduced his damage, and they added what's called a power block. They removed his uppercut and changed it to a power block, which is basically he absorbs kind of like he absorbs damage like Cable would, I guess you could say. And then he could slam it out into his slam that he pushes people against. And so he charges up his abilities essentially with a block like a tank would have. Bastion is the tank character. What's interesting about him now is
Bastion is a tank character. I mean, he literally turns into a tank.
Not a tank character. I'm sorry. Bastion looks like a tank.
Oh.
When like.
So here's OG.
Oh, this is interesting. Yeah.
And there's number 2.
Oh yeah. So they did a lot of cosmetic changes. which is funny. They're changing the maps that we're getting, Jordan. They now are either raining or it's gone from day to night or night to day. That's how they're changing the maps a little, which kind of makes me laugh a little bit. But
That
so
is
there's
funny.
yeah, so you can go a lot with changing the maps and stuff. But here, I'll switch back to me, David. So,
I feel like this is not that big of a.
yeah, it sounds like a DLC, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Well,
what?
I mean, I
So for
think
those of you
it's a
listening,
is it a transition to the new engine? Basically, is what it is.
it's
That's
what it seems like. Yeah,
like. You know what I mean?
I mean, he gets a hat and the bird
I
looks a
actually
little better.
like the previous one better. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's like worn down a little bit. You know, this is Bastion that we're looking at. Everybody, he's worn down. So this is what it says: a visual evolution. Overwatch 2 evolves the look and feel of the world with more dynamic environments. So that's the rain and night cycles that you were talking about. Large scale battles, additional in-game storytelling events, and improved atmospheric effects and
Now,
shadows.
question: large scale battles and additional in-game storytelling events; those are separate. I thought the large scale battles would be a part of. I don't know. Do you think they're gonna do something like a BTB type game mode in the
Well,
arcade or something like that?
No,
you know?
I think they're just talking about the PvE stuff.
Okay,
when
okay.
they're talking about
They,
that.
yeah, they can.
I mean, they did add a game. Well, they're removing 2 CP, so 2 King of the Hills.
I like Mercy's new look.
Yes, more defined. They're removing the 2 capture the point maps. You still have the hybrid maps, but they're also adding the push pull, which is essentially a tug of war with a statue guy in the middle. And if you're on the point, it pushes towards their base. If you're not, if they're on the point, it pushes towards your base.
I actually like that idea for a game mode. I think that's going to be really fun. And I wonder if they're going to have a timer on it because that game mode could go on forever. You know what I mean? That could be a long game mode.
I would assume that it's whatever side it's on. Once the 10-minute timer
closer to win,
yeah, that's what I would assume. But so back to Bastion, you can his fire no longer has recoil, which I thought was interesting. And now his like tank mode.
Yeah,
that he gets into, he can now go around. He can move around in that mode. So a lot of damage with him. Some interesting things. Reinhardt has 2 fire strikes now.
Let me ask you about the Reinhardt look.
That's actually
spicy.
Nice.
We go from this to this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like Reinhardt's. Yeah.
Do Reaper and McCree, David. I want to see their old.
Interesting on Reinhardt. Sorry, Spicy. Before you get back into what is being added, look at his numbers. He goes from numbers 8s to 9s.
Oh, maybe that's his 9th piece.
It's probably like
upgraded armor.
Yeah, it's probably like the Mark, 8 with
9.
Iron Man. Mark 8 versus the Mark 9.
Yes. Sorry, you were saying Reinhardt's additions.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of changes. I'm just going over the things that I found that were kind of most interesting. He's added health. They've lowered his shield down, which is interesting. I think Overwatch developers wanted to get rid of the shield meta because Orisa no longer she's like an attack kind of tank. They've lowered the damage of Reinhardt's shield, and she no longer has a shield. Actually, I believe, the protective barrier has been removed, so she no longer has a shield, and she's like a DPS tank now, which is really interesting. Her kit's been totally changed. She now dives in. She has a javelin. She does all these weird things. So I think that they're removing some of the meta with all these changes that people were, I guess, complaining about. Interestingly, here's an interesting one, Jordan. May no longer freezes.
Hey, a lot of people like that change.
She slows you down, but she doesn't actually freeze. Her ultimate still freezes, but it's an ultimate, so whatever. But now she just as she's freezing them, they slow you down. So they're getting rid of a lot of the crowd control abilities and a lot of these characters because people don't like crowd control abilities, stuns, sleeps, although Anna's sleep is still in the game. But
so Spicy, you think with all now the knowledge of these changes, more excited, less excited, still wait and see?
Well, it's gonna be fun to play all these changes. Full disclosure, I like playing as a support character, and there was no changes to really any of the sports. So it's going to be kind of the same. It's going to feel probably close to the same for support characters, but a lot of these changes are definitely going to be fun to figure out what works and what doesn't. You have characters like Orisa, which I do play Orisa. I'm nervous to play as a tank now because there's only one of me as if I'm playing a tank, and tanks are crucial to the team's success, which means there's going to be a lot of pressure put on tanks because there's no longer a fallback tank, if that makes sense. It's you or you're either carrying the team, you're either doing your job, or if you make a mistake, it's, you could get flamed pretty hard, I guess. So there's a lot more pressure on tanks, which I'm not really excited about, but it's going to be interesting to see all these changes, how they play. With now we can play in the rain and in the nighttime.
Can you slip? Is there environmental?
So I think like characters like Mercy are going to be more played, because the changes the balance with Orisa no longer being just a standstill barrier tank. She's now a dive in, create space, do damage. Mercy's now going to be diving in with her more because she has her damage boost, which Mercy, for those listening, she's a healer support, but she can also amplify damage. So there's changes like that that's going to make gameplay. It's going to everything's going to be shifting, which with any game is really fun because you never know what's going to work and what's not. So there's this learning phase, which I'm really excited about. The beta launches on, I believe, Tuesday, the 26th.
Well, and I don't know if it will. I tend to think it probably won't, but maybe let's see if this helps with the queues. A lot of these changes,
Yeah,
kind of broadens the player base to play some different roles and stuff like that. It's hard to say because I think naturally people just lean towards DPS, So, but no, let's see if it helps the queues. That would be great. No more fast pass needed,
Yeah. Well, what were they thinking like that? I don't know. But yeah, like they're removing a whole bunch of crowd control stun abilities. They're removing barriers. They're basically doing what people wanted to do for a long time, and they're calling it a sequel, which I would just think. I think that this is
just an update. Yeah,
it's like a reset. Update. It's a way for them to reset and rebrand. You think?
Yeah, but see, in my opinion, you call it Chapter 2.0.
Yeah, Chapter 2. Yeah, that makes sense.
Overwatch Chapter 2. I don't think. Yeah,
Chapter 2.
I mean, we all know it's not a sequel.
I think Heroes of the Storm just called it 2.0.
Yeah, exactly, 2.0. Fortnite calls it Chapter 2, Chapter 3. I feel like this is kind. It's whatever.
Yeah,
but it's exciting for Overwatch to be back on the stage again and hopefully get a whole bunch more players in and play a really great game. I think it is a good game.
Yeah, Cooper says, I can't wait to see what the PvE mode will bring when it eventually launches. I think a lot of people are excited for that. And Super Shocker dropped a super chat. He says, if I played that game, I'd be one of those ladies. We were showing the Mercy.
Mercy.
Mercy. Yeah. Amen, Super Shocker. Amen. Let's take some questions, everybody. Our first question comes from It's Mint. He says, hey, bros, it's that time of week again. Wahoo. He says, my question this week is simple. Will we ever see digital games drop in price like we were promised back when this was first launched? AAA titles are more expensive than ever, particularly if you're on the PlayStation. Wink, wink. Or if you're our Take-Two, play Take-Two games, because holy crap.
Yeah.
$70 games. Jordan, what game did you have to pay $70 for recently?
Horizon Forbidden West.
Ouch.
Don't get me wrong. Like it's well worth what it's worth, but come on, man. Just get $60.
Yeah, so on that, there was actually a couple articles this week about both Microsoft and PlayStation, including in-game advertising and patenting the technology for in-game advertising, where developers would now have the ability to, I feel like, dynamically change in-game advertisements. So, for instance, like in Grand Theft Auto, there's a billboard that's now an advertisement, and then developers could get paid for that in theory. A lot of people came out really against that. Dreamcast guy, who I really like, like had a whole rant on it, how he hates it. I don't hate it.
Well, I think it's
I don't
just
have a
what does it-
problem at all with games advertising, and I think actually it's how they advertise. So just having something, for instance, Madden, FIFA, hockey, NHL, they all have like the billboards, and they've always had those advertisements there. It doesn't affect the way I play the game. It's just a place to prop an advertisement.
Well, I think it's just
What do
I
you
think
do?
it's the fear of, because when you said advertisement, it's like, oh no, are they gonna have like when I log into Windows, pop-ups left and right, you know what I mean, stuff like that, because that I don't want. You know
That
what I
I'm
mean?
against. Well, I'll tell you what I'm against. I'm against like what Hulu does, where
Oh, yeah.
where here it's
Hey,
seven.
pay
It's
us
here's a
$10 so that you
subscription
can
to
watch
watch
our
our
show.
channel, and
Pay
you
us-
still have commercials.
Yeah.
But if you pay a little bit more, now you don't have
You
commercials.
only have one commercial. But
I'm
if you pay a little bit more after that.
Yeah, I'm either paying for no commercials, or I'm not paying at all. Like that's a fool. So I'm against if they do something like that. But if
No,
it's this
'cause-
passive advertisement in game, I have zero issue. It doesn't change the way that I play the game.
Yeah, it wouldn't affect anything. If it's like what I thought of is, you guys remember watching that movie Ready Player One?
Yeah.
And you remember the guy that worked, the bad guy of the movie, and he was like, "What's the most amount of advertising space we can get without giving them seizures?" You know what I mean? When they take up the whole screen of advertisements, So that's like, when you first said it, that's what I was thinking of. And obviously, I don't want that. Like, it's not to take a shot at Ubisoft, but it'll be a Ubisoft UI. You know what I mean? There'll just be crap all over it, just plastered. Like, oh, okay,
No,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
that's
Like,
foolish. But in-game advertising, in-world advertisements, Mr. McSpicy, if you're rolling through Witcher and you see on the side of some poor dude's wagon an advertisement for, I don't know, Coca-Cola,
well, that would
are you
break-
against that?
I would, because that would definitely break
No,
the immersion.
you could do it in a hilarious way. I would think it would be hilarious. Maybe Coca-Cola then is like Coca-Cola Magic.
Coca-Cola magic. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, like I think it's I don't know. It's a line, right? I mean, because obviously, like, Madden advertises, and like you'll hear the announcers like, and this replay was brought to you by Reebok. You know what I mean? But it fits in that setting because it's a sports game, right? If The Witcher all of a sudden pulled up and there was a bus stop advertisement of like a divorce lawyer, you know,
Or a
Yeah,
shake
but-
weight.
Yeah, but it would be you'd have to make it fit in the game. It would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Spicy,
Well,
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what's interesting about the story is I believe, I don't know if I read the same article, but it was about Xbox exploring the idea of dynamic billboards in like Forza games and stuff like that. What's interesting about it, I feel like the people that are doing the news stories on this are trying to rile up like an anti advertising thing in games, which they've been doing this for decades in
Yeah.
games already. And it's Microsoft is from what I understand, they're not making any money on this. They're testing systems with the dynamic changes, and all the money that they're dynamically testing is going straight back to the developer. So they're not even taking a cut on this. They're just exploring the technology to make it work, essentially. And I feel like there's a lot of anti articles on this because of a danger that doesn't yet exist. And I don't like it when people do that personally. But so to back to answering your question, should we be scared? Should we be worried? Well, Microsoft's doing it right. They're testing it and they're figuring out what will work, what won't. We know that, I don't know. Right now, as of right now, Microsoft definitely is a consumer gamer. At least Xbox is a consumer-driven company where they're like Phil Spencer is. I have a lot of faith in how he does things. They're
very, as of late, they've been very consumer friendly.
Consumer friendly, yeah. Accessibility driven, play anywhere type stuff. Anyways, so I would be fearful if they were putting shake weight commercials in Witcher, but it doesn't. How they're doing this, it's just testing, and it's not actually happening yet to the extent that these people are getting scared about. But this is a way to what you were saying before, David, to lower the costs of development straight back to the developer, so the game doesn't have to be $90 by 2025. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm in advertising in my business. I create ads, I create content, I'm a graphic designer, a whole bunch of stuff. And it can be done right and it can be done wrong. And if it's wrong, then yeah, that's when we complain, but it's not wrong yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was a long spiel on let them figure it out. And if it's wrong, the market will, I believe, correct itself, because we'll get pissed at a shake weight Coca-Cola commercial on the side of a wagon that David thinks is hilarious.
I think that would be hilarious. I have no problem as long as it doesn't affect my gameplay. Advertise all you want. Sell me the kitchen sink, especially to It's Mint's question. If it means that AAA titles become less expensive. I think becoming more expensive is a mistake. I think it's a strategic mistake by companies like Take-Two, by the 2K series, by PlayStation. I think that's a mistake. I think you're starting to go one step too far. And my Siri went off and just hold on one second.
She's giving you a whole bunch of data.
Yeah.
No, yeah, in a game like Forza, billboards are around. I mean, they would fit perfectly there, and they would, I would assume, have a quality control, type of thing where it's not going to be terrible ads.
Yeah, let's look at a hypocritical piece of trash news site like Kotaku. That's right. Here's Kotaku, who they kind of get a little snarky about the. That's
a good way to put it.
Yeah,
snarky.
They get a little snarky about this technology. What do you notice on their website? Oh, I don't know. Let's scroll up to the top. There's a big ad. Here's a big ad. Here's an ad on the side. So all these news sites that raged about it, give me a break, bro. Give me a break. But here's how Kotaku says. Kotaku says, let's see, where is it at? Oh, here it is. Business Insider was also unable to confirm if Microsoft had Xbox. Oh, no, that's not where it's at. Anyways, they basically get snarky and they say you won't be able. Oh, here it is. And because consoles are walled off gardens, unable to access mods or hacks easily, it means you can't just install an ad blocker to hide these ads like you do when you visit Kotaku.
Yeah, well, the first part of that's already untrue, because Skyrim on console can do mods. Consoles can do mods. The developer just has to allow it.
Yeah, that's
and if you want, you can just make a mod box like they used to do back in the day. I mean, but anyway.
Yeah,
that's hilarious, David, that their own website is covered in ads.
Yeah, and for the record, I had to turn off my ad blocker.
I think there
to even read that article.
Yeah, I think there is a. I think
even read the article too.
Yeah, so a lot of them do that.
Oh, that is funny. They actually put that in the article, you do when you come visit our site, but we won't let you read our site if you chose to do.
No, they did let me. They did let me read it, but I turned off the ad blocker.
But they ask you. They say, "Hey, we need money. Can you turn off your ad blocker?" Anyway, no, I think there's a fine line. Like, for example, if you're in Forza and you're driving around and you see a random billboard for a Gatorade advertisement, I don't think that's necessarily bad. I mean, I also wonder what the percentage of, where I worry is let's take Forza, for example, because it's easy. You have Forza, you put a billboard in game and there's a Gatorade advertisement on it. What does the developer have? Because how do I explain this?
There's a flat rate that you pay for that.
No, I know, but how does the developer make it worth it for the advertiser to do it? Because you're not guaranteed that a player will drive past that billboard and see that advertisement.
Well, there's different kind of. There's different.
Is the developer going to change and add more?
Yeah, there's different.
There's a fine
line.
There's
different price points. There's packages. It would all be worked out for sure. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Gatorade gave Forza $1 million, are we going to be plastered with Gatorade all over?
I think the other way to think of this technology too is, imagine you're in a free-to-play game. You're in Overwatch or you're in Halo. Let's say you're in Halo, and there's these cool skins in the store that you want to buy or something. The billboards could advertise its own stuff for you to then go buy. There's a lot of times that I don't go into stores of games because I'm just playing the game. I'm not taking the time. Maybe I miss a sell or something. So you could, developers could use it any way they want. I really don't have a problem. I think here's the thing. Like anything else in life, just same with battle passes, same with, dare I say, digital ownership, i.e. NFTs, there is a good way to do it and there's a bad way to do it. And if if in Jordan's example, if Ubisoft comes in and throws it all in my UI and it's in my face and annoying, that's a bad way to do it. If it's just a passive ad in the background of a real world game,
where ads are generally anyways, like a billboard in a Forza game is an ad.
If you were to do like I don't know, like Grand Theft Auto, where on the radio stations they basically have fake ads. You know what I mean? I guess you could do it there. So I don't know. It's just, I think there's a line, right? Yeah, you don't want to cross the line, you know? Like Kotaku, for example. I mean, we could just read the article, or you had to be plastered with ads all over the, thing.
No, I just think how Microsoft is doing it is the correct way. They're testing it. They're letting developers, get the actual revenue from it. But it's not live. Really, like this system is not live. They're testing to make sure that it's done right, and I'm totally okay with that. I would worry if it's not being tested and they're just going, you know what? Yeah, willy nilly, do it.
Yeah. I would like to point out in chat, Brian F actually makes a good example and a concern for probably a good majority of gamers is what do they advertisements in younger games for your kids, you know what I mean, like Minecraft dungeons and stuff like that, right? So
I'm sure it's not even allowed in those games. Any games,
right,
for everyone games.
Even on YouTube, you have to say if this is made for children, and it's much stricter criteria. So that's all kind of been done for a while.
Yeah.
Now I feel like that system is set up as just bringing it in game.
I get the concept of people like when you hear this, you're like. Because, like, for example, David, when you first said it, I was thinking to myself of that dude from Ready Player One, where he's like, we can use 75% of their screen before they get seizures. You know what I mean? Like, so I get the concern, but I mean, I agree with you. Like you guys have said, I mean, it's not right now. There's nothing to be concerned about via testing. I mean,
Well, and this is, like I said, this has been done for decades already in games. Like you even talked about Reebok and Madden. Like it's not a new thing. They're just trying to do it in a way that gets the developer a way to make revenue to make games cheaper for us. If it's done wrong, then let's complain. But until it's done wrong, let's see what their testing does and then see if they can do it in a great way. It's not a problem yet. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Super Shocker drops a super chat. He said it would be nice if you actually purchased what was advertised. You could enter a code to remove ads for a month or so after you purchased it. If so, bring on that shake weight. That's actually hilarious. It's like a benefit. See, to me, that's actually a way of doing it wrong.
If you buy a shake weight, you can enter the code.
Yeah, it's like holding you hostage.
But a lot of shake weight might get sold,
Matt Wilcox on the counter side, he says they're not concerned about what's bad or good. They're concerned about what's profitable. To me, this clearly not consumer friendly. This adds nothing positive to our own gaming experience.
Well, let's say they do it in a way you don't even notice it's there. Then if a tree falls in the woods, does anyone there hear it? Like, that's essentially what they're trying to create. They're trying to create a way to do this that's not.
Well, it already exists in games.
It's been around for
enabling it more. But yeah, I agree. I think it done incorrectly will be bad. It done correctly, like the Grand Theft Auto, I think is the most obvious example because you're in a real world situation. There's billboards already. Forza is the other one. That's where the ads would be. So I do have a problem though. I think Matt Wilcox has a point that he thinks they won't lower the prices if this. That's my problem with NBA 2K. You've already monetized your game. You have a Game Pass. This idea that it's costing more than ever. You're making more money than ever.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if these are inputted and games are still charged a ton of, it's why Netflix, I think a prime example, Netflix, it's getting too greedy. What happens? 200,000 subscribers lost. Why? Because they're taking away the screen share. They're charging you more money. And there's a tipping point where people say, nope, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. I'm out. And I think gaming's going to $70. I know a lot of people disagree with this. I think it's that tipping point.
Yeah, I don't like the $70 purchases. I mean, I've also been on Game Pass for a year too, so even a $60 purchase hurts me a lot. But yeah, $70 purchase. I think I'm just picturing like all the stuff they could do wrong. You know what I mean? Like like let's take the second.
I've
The,
got
the,
70% of your screen.
yeah, well, I just like, obviously this is an exaggeration, but what if you're playing Halo? You're on the first mission in the Gabrakan, right? And you open the door, and that that brute, comes in and throws it, and he goes, "Finally, the demon. But before we fight, let me drink some Pepsi."
It all becomes just like super like Elden Ring.
No, really, I get the worry, because I think like that sounds ridiculous, but it's like, well, I don't know. I get.
Doesn't Fortnite do that already?
Yes, but they make it fun.
Well, then that's them doing it right.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I get the sentiment, because I'm kind of there too. Like, once you open up the floodgates, what happens? You know what I mean? Because I do agree, Matt Wilcox. I mean, they're gonna, whatever affects their bottom line. You know what I mean? Like, if they can see an opportunity to make money, they're gonna do it. Obviously, So I wonder how far it'll go.
Yeah. Well, I just
it's already happened. Like, this is something that's been around for 20 years. They're just, what Microsoft is trying to do is trying to create a dynamic way to do this.
I think it's a cool idea.
It's actually super interesting they're just trying to make it a good way to do what's been done already. They're just trying to improve the technology.
I think loot boxes are an example. We always say this. We talked about this with like digital ownership before. Loot boxes are an example of the industry trying to do something in this vein of like, how can we do this to make money? And loot boxes were done almost universally incorrect. And out of the ashes of the loot box came the battle pass, which is a much better value to a gamer that we're willing to pay for. Loot boxes, people were getting mad. I mean, remember Battlefield? I mean, that game, Battlefront. Sorry, rather.
You can say field.
Yeah, but Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront was done incorrectly.
Yeah, to that they doubled down. They made it pay to win loot boxes.
Pay to win loot boxes that you then have to pay for.
To their credit, before the game was launched, they removed that, but the system was already in place that kind of broke everything. But they really doubled down on that.
So that's an example right there of a problem happening, and then we can complain.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree.
This whole complaining before there's a problem, it kind of annoys me, because there's not a problem yet we're complaining.
And
the market corrected itself. We all got pissed, and then before the game was even launched, they removed it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is, if there's
I
a problem,
understand players and concerns like what Jort the Man has. However, if done the way that the way that they're already doing it, I have no problem with. As long as it's done passively, I don't care if you make more money, as long as it's not coming out of my wallet.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Take Coke's money.
Hey, and who knew? I never knew I needed that product. Thanks for telling me. Now I know I need that product.
Shake weight.
Shake weight. Now I know I need a shake weight. That when you hold looks like you're masturbating.
Yep. That's good. Very good.
Anyways, great discussion. Thank you very much. It's Mint for that question. Appreciate it. Let's take one more question from Lamont Aldridge. Lamont Aldridge writes in and says, "Have you played Tiny Tina Wonderland?" Jordan the Man has.
Yeah, it's actually it's really fun. I've not finished it yet. I've been pulled away in different directions with other games like No Man's Sky and what was the other game Elden Ring. I still jump back into that even though I'm done with it. Anyway, but it's really fun. It's fantasy Borderlands. If you like Borderlands, it's more of that in a fantasy setting, but there's a lot of cool stuff they do to keep it fresh. It's Dungeons and Dragons themed. So you are a new character around the table. The game actually starts with you around the real life table, and you create a character, and they do funny little touches that are clever. When you create your character, you start as an unpainted model, and during the character creation, you can pick your colors and paint your model, or you can just play the whole game as an unpainted model, and you'll just be like this gray plastic looking. So, which is kind of cool. They do little things during, which make me laugh because we've played Dungeons and Dragons, the three of us, and there are certain scenarios that really happen. For example, the Tina, who is the dungeon master, she'll say like, "Oh yeah, and you decide to go over here and do this," and then like one of the players chimes in, and they're like, "Nah, I kind of want to go over here instead. And you can hear Tina's voice like, okay, you go there. You know, like you can kind of hear that it's quite clever. They've kind of, I feel like they've captured the table mannerisms, if that makes sense. You know, people wanting to do different things, or the dungeon master saying something and the person's like, what if we just did this? Or what if we, you know, instead of being fully evil, I'm just going to be half evil. And you can kind of see Tina, you know, trying to adapt to that. And it's really cool. It feels like Borderlands. It is Borderlands. They've added a new features like different types of skill trees. Magic replaces your grenades, which is really cool. It's a fun, good experience.
Yeah.
Do I think it's worth $70 to pay for the next gen edition? That's incredibly frustrating, but it is a fun game, and I will give them that. It's a cool little experience. I enjoy it. If you like Borderlands, it's more of that, just in a fantasy settings. If you weren't a fan of Borderlands, then you're probably not going to want to go towards this, because like I said, it's Borderlands in a fantasy setting.
Yeah. So better than Borderlands, the same as Borderlands?
I don't know. I enjoyed Borderlands 3. This, I don't know. Let me beat the game and let you know, because Borderlands 3 did have a lot of cool stuff that I enjoyed, because Borderlands 3 was just more Borderlands, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what Borderlands fans wanted, because I remember Borderlands 3 got a lot of criticism because it wasn't very different from the previous ones. And at that time, that was, you know, I get the criticism, but it was more Borderlands, which was fun. This is more Borderlands, but in a fantasy setting. So you have the Dungeons and Dragons things, you have the magic, which is cool. You have the overworld, which is really fun. It kind of makes you feel like you're on a tabletop. The story so far is fairly decent. It's not like amazing, but it's decent. So I don't know. Let me beat the game, and I'll let you know if I think it's better than Borderlands 3.
Cooper
but right
says
now,
better. Yeah, Cooper says he thinks it's better than Borderlands 3.
Yeah, no, I mean, am I leaning that way? Look, this is it. I actually really like, and this may be a small feature for some. I really like that they replaced grenades with magic. The magic feels much more dynamic. It feels more customizable. They feel way more different. I mean, I know there was different types of grenades, like damage grenades, healing grenades, fire grenades, but the magic feels so, like, I feel like you have a broader spectrum with magic than you do with grenades. So anyway,
yeah,
I really like that feature a lot. So I don't know. Let me beat the game first, and then I'll give my.
I mean, it's
better than 3, but it is good. It is.
Yeah,
really
it sounds fun. Beast says he also likes it better, and then Deathlord Strong says, "I'm a sporcerer. It's awesome. Love my little mushroom killing machine buddy." So it sounds like you're taking the tongue in cheek of Borderlands and wrapping it into fantasy.
Yeah, and that's why it's good. It's more Borderlands, but in a fantasy setting. And I think that's why people like it so much. I just don't want to say it's better until I beat it yet. I mean, am I leaning towards it's better? Probably, because I really like that magic system they have in there to replace the grenades. I like the talent trees. I don't know. It's just it's hard. I just want to beat the game first before I give a
solid review.
A solid yes, this is
yes
better
or no
than Borderlands 3 or not. But anyway.
Great question, Lamont Aldridge. Thank you very much for writing in. Appreciate it. That actually does us for today, everybody. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the X1Bros, the most positive gaming podcast on the internet. Don't forget to come join us on YouTube, youtube.com/X1Bros, everybody. Mr. McSpicy, more No Man's Sky this week. Anything different for you?
Well, Overwatch. I'm gonna I hope it's open beta.
It's beta invite.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll be watching a lot of gameplay and seeing what happens. So when Overwatch hits, I also have like just almost 500 loot boxes I've never opened on my Overwatch account.
You did in protest.
Should I stream opening 500, the most boring stream in the history of streaming?
That would be hilarious.
We don't know if you're going to lose them or not, do we?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might as well just sit there. There's no open all button. So we literally have to sit there for 3 hours if I want to open these and open I'm just under 500 loot boxes.
Cooper has confirmed.
Not only loot boxes, Overwatch loot boxes, which suck.
Yeah. Cooper has confirmed it is closed beta.
It's closed beta. Okay. Well, hopefully I get it. Everybody go sign up for the invite if you can. I did like 3 months ago, but go sign up still. It'll be fun. Hopefully I can get it. But so I'll be doing that. And still No Man's Sky when
Jordan the man. How about yourself?
But yeah, probably more No Man's Sky. Just for fun.
That's me. It's raining. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. It's the perfect time to play some video games.
Perfect time to fly around in space.
Fly around in space and go pee on Bobby Blake's planet. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to us over on Spotify, also iTunes or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, whatever Apple's named their stuff. As always, love hanging out with you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.